and reviews. Great to be back. Had the flu. Whole family had the flu, including baby Layla, 4 months old, and already had her first flu. So we're back. We're bringing some fantastic automotive industry information, really must-know information before buying. Excuse the voice. I still have a bit of congestion and just got out of about 5 to 6 days of having a fever. So bear with me, folks. I've got some great information for you. It's going to be worth hearing through this raspy voice. Now, this is must-know info before buying a new car, a new truck, a new SUV, as well as a used truck, used car, used SUV. So this is your 2024 car buying info. So we're going to be talking about what's gone down in the past, what's going down right now, and what's going to go down in the future. And we want to save you here at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. We want to save you thousands of dollars. So help this small family business out. Hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much to the members to help this channel continue. So members, I truly appreciate you. You have a sticker beside your name when you're in the chat, so you know who you are. Everyone else knows who you are. You're truly supporting this channel. So let's get right down to business. We're going to be talking about how to get a free Ford charger so that you can charge on Tesla chargers. So free adapter for your Ford electric vehicle to charge on Teslas. We're going to be talking about all sorts of automotive news, all the brands, where can you get a great deal, what you need to know to get a great deal and save thousands, because that's not going to stick around forever. Now is an excellent time to buy. It's not an it feels like an auto market collapse, but that's not what the data is showing. I know it's very tough, and a lot of us, we're all dealing with the rents that are up, the expensive groceries, but auto sales right now, we've got thousands of dollars off vehicles, but dealers still feel like there is a total collapse. Wayne, good evening. Marine Vet, thank you so much for being here. Ridgeview, thank you so much. The WB, thank you so much, guys, for being in here. We're going to be talking about how the EPA slacks emissions rules and how that could really help us not go towards an all-electric future that some of us are fearing quite a bit. We'll also be talking about a whole lot more. We'll be talking about new low price on the Ford EVs, an electric Ford to come along that'll have a real low price around $25,000, $26,000. We'll be talking about some delays to other models. We'll be talking about some cancellations, future cancellations of models. We'll be looking down the pipeline for Ford. We're also going to be looking at Ford F-150 Lightning reliability. A lot of us worry that electric vehicles won't be very reliable. Jack Evans, Orlando, OBX, thank you so much to both of you. And Marine Vet, all members, Ridgeview, all members, thank you so much for all the support, folks. So yeah, as I just mentioned, we're going to be talking about how to charge your Ford electric vehicle on a Tesla charger for free. At least the adapter comes free. I'll show you how to get that done. Then we're going to be talking about Ford Maverick, Ford Bronco, and Ford Lightning, how according to Kelley Blue Book, they've got a best resale value in the industry. But don't be fooled. I'm an insider. I'm going to talk about how that's partially true, very true, and partially unbelievably untrue. So don't be fooled. I don't want anyone going out and wasting tens of thousands of dollars expecting one thing and getting another. So let's jump right into the show tonight. We'll be talking about a few other topics as well, like Ford reliability being tied to bonuses. We've got a great show in store for you. So let's put the pedal to the metal. Like, subscribe, and share this information. Thank you so much for the live chat, folks. Really, truly appreciate you. M. Peugeot, welcome into the show. I definitely do not need one of those, M. Peugeot. No way, Jose. So let's put the pedal to the metal. Let's get right down to it. Big topic of the night. Don't buy a new or used vehicle until you know this. This is must-know information to save you thousands of dollars, and this really will save you thousands of dollars. We do need to get moving. So sales are actually, despite almost all of YouTube, you look at all the auto market titles, they're talking about a market collapse, that dealers are doomed, that it's the, the end. So it makes you think like, well, if dealers are doomed, in the process of being doomed, if automakers are in the process of being doomed and going into a collapse, I better wait. I'm not so sure prices are going to be a whole lot better than what they are now. Now is actually an excellent time to buy, and we need to strike before dealers realize it. Dealers spent this past winter quite scared, filled lots. And I mean, this is why we have all those market collapse, dealers are doomed videos. It's because dealers have lots that are filled. I mean, I'm renting out 2, maybe now 3 extra lots just to fit all my cars in there, and we're a dealer like many dealers. The inventory is way up. Let's go check out that inventory, which has been leading all this talk about how dealers are doomed. So there's the inventory right there. Days of inventory means if the manufacturers stop bringing in new vehicles to those dealers, it would take X number of days to sell the current vehicles they have. Now, of course, they're going to manufacturers want to continue to unload vehicles on the dealers, but dealers can only take so much. Think of dealers like boats. Once the boat is filled, you're not going to fit more people and more stuff onto the boat unless the boat starts sinking. So there's a give and take from both the manufacturers and the dealers in regard to price so that the boat doesn't sink. Now this chart's pretty interesting. I'm going to zoom in here. Lincoln has 133 days supply inventory, and there's still more vehicles coming in. So at 133 days of inventory, that means Lincoln dealers, they've got a lot of them, meaning 2 things. 1, they're not going to be so keen taking as many new vehicles as Lincoln would like them to take. And 2, it means the dealer is tired of paying interest on vehicles and is going to make you a good deal. Now, the manufacturer as well is going to want to make you a good deal because they want to get those vehicles at the dealer lots out of there so that they can bring in more vehicles. Because if they don't, the result is they have to slow down production and lay people off. And we've seen that with the Ford F-150 Lightning recently. Planned production was at roughly 150,000 units, and they're going to be doing half of that. So they had to cut down production, and that means workers got laid off. You went from 3,200 units per week down to a planned 1,600 units per week, meaning 150,000 Lightnings built for 2024. That was the plan. It's now been cut in half. That means these workers went off to work at different Ford plants. Now, the Detroit area has, more than one plant, so they're able to go work on Rangers and Broncos because those plants are, high demand on the new Ranger, high demand on the new Ford Bronco. Whereas at Stellantis, Dodge and Ram had to lay off 400 employees just last week. So in laying off 400 employees, the result of that is because they can't get enough of these units moved off dealer lots. So let's go back to that chart to understand things a little bit better. Where is Ram? Where is Jeep? Where is Chrysler? Where is Dodge? Okay, well, they're not on the list because I guess they don't fit on the list. They're all over. Ram and Dodge are the worst. They're over 200 days supply. So you've got days of inventory. You've got Ram with insanely high inventory. They still have, same thing for Chrysler, Jeep, meaning you can get Jeeps, you can get Rams, you can get Chryslers with $15,000 off. There's 2022s, I mean brand new 2022s still for sale at Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler and Ram. So they don't fit on the list here. So Lincoln actually isn't the worst off in the industry at 133 days. You've got roughly another 100 days in supply of Ram, meaning those lots are absolutely filled. and you should absolutely expect to get an incredible deal and get 10, not just thousands, put over $10,000 off if you're going to be buying a Jeep, Dodge, a Ram. And I've looked into this. I've looked across the promotion of the new vehicles, but this also is going to apply for used vehicles. If a manufacturer has trouble selling the new vehicles, they're going to lower the prices. They have to, because they need to make room at those dealers for the new vehicles that they've produced, the 2024s. The dealer wants to get those vehicles off the lot because they're paying interest, roughly 7% interest on these vehicles. They don't want to have vehicles sit around for 230 or 240 days before getting sold because they're paying 8% interest on it. So if you have a $100,000 Jeep Grand Wagoneer, it means they're paying over $8,000 in interest on that vehicle every year it sits around. And that particular model is going to be sitting around for probably over 356 days on average. Prost. I try to get the throat a little bit better off. Now you've got Genesis at 132 days, Volvo at 126 days, Infiniti at 120 days, Nissan 104 days, Mazda 102 days. Yes, you can get a good deal on Mazdas, and Mazdas are excellent vehicles. Volkswagen 94 days, Audi 94 days, Ford 91 days. Ford has brought down their days inventory down, and this is why you need to get a good deal. If you're looking at a Ford, get a Ford, I'd say now, because Ford has been bringing down the number of days in inventory because they had, and we currently had, way too much inventory at dealers. But Ford's not slow and Ford's not stupid. So what Ford did is they dropped interest rates way down and they brought rebates down. Look at the Mach-E. We had about 10 months of unsold Mach-Es. That's the Mustang Mach-E, the electric SUV from Ford. We had we basically had a year's supply of these 2023s sitting around. And in 3 weeks, we sold almost 10 months worth of Mach-Es. It has been incredibly busy at Ford dealerships because of Mach-E sales. The staff can hardly survive it. The people are waiting to buy Mach-Es and they are moving fast. And it helps demonstrate that even a model that seemed unsellable because there's so much inventory, there's a year's worth of inventory sitting on lots. That means lots were covered in Mach-Es. So this is a great example, folks, of what happens when at dealers. It's a pendulum swing. It's always from one extreme, we're not selling anything, we got to do anything to get these sold, to we're selling everything, we don't want to make a deal. So at dealers, it's an absolute pendulum swing. We'll talk about data to prove this, but my big advice, my big takeaway to all this is that we need to buy now because sales are way up, but prices are still down and dealers will adjust. The downed prices, manufacturers and dealers adjust as inventory levels become much more acceptable, as you see what it's been going on with Ford, down to 91 days supply. They're previously well over 100 days supply. And it's like a pendulum swing for both manufacturers and dealers. They'll go from, it's kind of like playing a hand of poker. They'll go from, wow, I've got the best hand ever, let's go, I'll push that money in, to, oh, I've got a really bad hand, I better fold a few here and lose a little bit of money here, lose a little bit of money there. But they know when they've got a good hand, and there's a bit of an adjustment period because they don't adjust within the month, they adjust in the months to follow. So the Mach-E went from being one of the most, a wild story here. So many Mach-Es on lots, one of the highest volumes of models available, new models available on the entire market. And now many dealers are selling, 10 months, a year's worth of Mach-Es in 3, 4, 5 weeks. Some dealers will take 2 months to sell 12 months worth of Mach-Es, but because Ford dropped the price by $5,000 here in Canada and lowered the interest rate by several interest rate points down to 0.99 interest, these Mach-Es flew off the shelves, you could say, flew off the lots. People wait in line. They sit down and they wait 45 minutes, an hour, just to get their turn to buy their Mach-E. It has been wild. And this is going to likely happen, not to this extreme, but this does happen for all brands and all manufacturers when both dealers and manufacturers put incentives in. And trust me, dealers wanted to get these sold so bad that for the month of February, they were offering, free winter tires and, a year warranty with these vehicles in my area, which meant the entire, revenue potential on the Mach-E was basically just being given away. They just wanted to get rid of them. But with the pendulum swing, from one extreme, we'll do anything to sell it. Well, now that they're selling like crazy, it's, hold on, let's not lose money on these. And then they start to think, yeah, I had this unit sitting around for 10 months. I'm going to pay X thousands, so many thousands of dollars in interest on it. No, I don't want to also lose money when I sell this. So no, I'm not going to give winter tires, and I'm not going to give an extended warranty. So that's sort of the mindset behind dealers. It's always from one extreme to another. Ridgeview saying, incentive to Johnny for possible flight to Florida for our Ford's Garage restaurant if he's feeling better to travel. Thank you so much. It has been a stressful time. Layla was in the hospital Friday night, some breathing issues because of the flu. Then she was back in the hospital Saturday as well. So right now it's been very, very tough on Marie, very stressful. I think she might want me to be staying home and being around in case things go down. Also, we definitely don't want to take Layla on a trip right now. It's going to be Marie's birthday, April 3rd. So we've got a family dinner this weekend for her birthday, and I probably should be there for her birthday party. The father-in-law is going to be there, the whole family-in-law. And it might be viewed poorly if I'm in beautiful Florida. Absolutely love Florida. But when I come down, I do like to come down with the family. But Ridgeview, thank you so much for the financial help. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. So let's get down into the data behind this story, behind, Mercedes-Benz having 91 days of inventory, Porsche 85, Mitsubishi 89, Hyundai 83, Buick 81, Acura 81, Mini at 80. Who buys Minis? I don't know. GMC 79. The national average is 76 days. And generally, dealers want to be around the 49 to 80 days of inventory. That's sort of your ideal days of inventory, ideal supply, so that clients still have some on the vehicle to choose from without being, too overfilled, having to rent out extra lots just to park them and paying a ton, hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest every month if you're a big dealer. BMW at 73, Subaru at 72, Chevrolet at 68, Cadillac at 61, Kia 60, Land Rover at 57. Surprisingly, Land Rovers they're low production, but they've been popular for their level of production. It's all about supply versus demand. Lexus 50, Honda 48, and Toyota 34. So Toyota has the least number of days in inventory, meaning their dealer lots are relatively empty, making it hard to get a deal at Toyota. Surprisingly, Toyota production is some of the highest volumes of production that they've had in decades and decades, historic highs. But where are the vehicles going? They're going to markets other than the US. The US market doesn't make them quite as much money. Coincidentally, maybe they're choosing to send a few less to the US market and sending them where they can make more money on them, which I would suspect that means Toyota, if we do see inventory going up, it's going to be because the prices go up as well, so that they can make the extra few $1,000s on the vehicles like they do elsewhere. So right now, it's been a tough winter, and due to some weird weather, and just like a pendulum swing, dealers and manufacturers have been giving out excellent deals in the month of February and March, and that could definitely swing the other way because sales numbers for February were surprisingly good and are going to be extremely good for the month of March. So February's passenger car sales increased by 7.2% to 249,605 units. So it's an increase of 7.2% from 2023. Now, this results in a 19.8% market share, while SUV and truck sales increased by 10.2%. So from 1,010,165 units, resulting in an 80.2 market share. So trucks are still the number one thing sold in the US. That's the number one segment. Light vehicles, seasonally adjusted. Excuse me. So truck sales are up, passenger vehicles are up, and for February 2024, it's looking like there'd be 15.99 million units sold instead of 15 million. So the sales forecast is looking like it's going up compared to a year ago. General Motors sales increased by 6.3%. Ford sales increased by 10.7%. But Stellantis sales dropped by 9.1%. And that's why you can expect to get tens of thousands of dollars off if you go and buy a Stellantis product. If that's your thing, if that's your brand, don't let them play hardball with you saying sales are great. They're not. Sales are way down at Stellantis. But as a result, the manufacturer and the dealer should be showing you big rebates. But part of the reason why GM and Ford have been having increased sales is because there's been great rebates as well. The Ford F-150 Lightning has either seen access to 0% interest or $7,000 off. The Ford F-150 Lightning this month can have, I believe it's $8,000 off for my region. So Ford is being proactive before their inventories get completely out of hand. They dropped prices considerably, and it made the days of inventory go way down. We're having, the last 4 months, dealers have been having a heck of a time, real trouble finding parking spaces for Ford vehicles. Same thing for GM, and the result is that the manufacturer and the dealers came out with good deals and people bought, and sales are actually doing quite well. They're doing well because of incentivized or, rebates that are both cash rebates and interest rebates in the interest rate, because the overall average is almost around 9%. If you look at all brands and models put together for interest rates, well, Ford, GM, and the people that where their inventory has been going down over the last few months, it's because they've been giving great deals when it comes to interest rates and great deals when it comes to rebates. Now, for March sales, the estimate coming in from JD Power and Global Data is actually a good deal better. The total new vehicle sales for March 2024, including retail and non-retail transactions, are expected to reach 1.5 million. So to be precise, 1.5 million and 25,700 units. Sorry, still have a bit of foggy brain from the flu. So that's a 12.1% jump from 1 year ago. So sales for March are looking like they're going to be 12.1% better than March 2023. However, here's the real kicker. Average transaction prices are trending towards $44,186, which is down 3.6% from March 2023, while average incentive spend per vehicle has grown by 66.6% from a year ago and on track to reach $2,800. So basically, prices are down. How much the dealers and the manufacturers are spending in rebate has significantly gone up. So it's actually an excellent time to get a deal right now. But once those inventory levels go down, because production is now normal, and production was normal, but having production normal and for several months having demand, the supply was normal, the demand was lower than expected. These vehicles filled up on lots. So this is the opposite of what happened 2-3 years ago. So inventory really filled up. The boat was filled with as much stuff and people as possible, really too much stuff, too much people, and the boat started to sink. So what did manufacturers and dealers start doing? Started flash sale, pitching furniture overboard, sending people out on lifeboats. Well, those lifeboats were really good rebates and really good interest rates, despite the Fed not having lowered interest rates. And I don't think we're going to get nearly as many interest rate drops as many of us were hoping and many analysts were talking about in November and December of 2023. And that's why I'm thinking now is an excellent time before, once it takes a while for the boat, you throw things off the boat, it takes a while before the boat, you really notice that it's gone up. At first, you throw some stuff up as you're, lowering inventory at dealers. The boat is slowly getting back to a good, healthy level of buoyancy. But they're going to look and they're going to say, oh, well, actually, our inventory is actually really healthy right now. And that will cause dealers and manufacturers to be giving out less deals than they are right now. So March, spring 2024 is turning out to be an excellent time to buy a vehicle. Now, total retail profit per unit is expected to decline by around 30%, 32% in the month. So March profit margins for dealers is way down. That's because you shouldn't be paying over MSRP, and you should only be paying MSRP if it's a model that's not abundantly available. For those models that you just see, the Mach-E, now you'll pay, MSRP because Ford dropped it by $5,000. So for the electric vehicles, often the price is fixed, but that price can fluctuate up or down. For Mach-E's, they have definitely gone down, and if you want one, jump on one right away. Let me know in the comments what you think about electric vehicles. Is this a move you're willing to make? Is this something that interests you? Well, let us know. Now, I've got another little fun segment coming right up. Thank you so much for watching this episode. To conclude, now is an excellent time to buy because dealers are still on that mindset of we've got way too much inventory. Our ship is sinking. They've been throwing out deals left and right with the help of manufacturers. And the more inventory a brand has, the better the deal you're going to get. Toyota, with barely any inventory, isn't throwing out deals, folks. But, Stellantis isn't even on this list. They don't fit on the list. The chart goes way too up. They're over 200 days supply for the Stellantis brands, Ram, Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep. So if you want a Jeep, jump on one, but expect to get tens of thousands of dollars off. Same thing for a Ram truck. Now, Ford, their inventory has been coming down as well as with GM. So if they continues to go down, once they get near the 70 mark, they're really going to ease up on throwing out the deals off the ship left and right. Once they notice that the ship is actually floating quite well and ready to set sail for the summer, I think right now is an excellent time to buy. I think there's fear of an auto market collapse. That was January, February, but I think March has proven that there isn't an auto market collapse, but the deals are still on the table. They're created and based on fear in the past, and they're going to disappear. Now, Marine Vet is saying he's really enjoying his hybrid, and yeah, there'd be a tax rebate if ever the Maverick would come out with a plug-in version with a big enough battery. So let's hope we see that down the road, but likely we'll see an all-wheel drive hybrid Ford Maverick first. Now, hybrids will help people more and more consider an EV. It's sort of like that gentle transition from gas, 100% fuel, ICE motor, internal combustion engine. Then people often adopt a hybrid. They have a hybrid for a few years and like, well, that goes quite well. And then they're open to an all-electric vehicle. The government shouldn't be forcing us to all go straight to electric. It's going to cause mayhem, and it's going to give a huge advantage to to Chinese automobiles in our market, and could crush our auto industry. Now, folks, that ends episode 1. Thank you so much for sticking through with us. We're going to start a very fun next episode. I like this. It's America's Worst Drivers. So let's talk about that. America's Worst Drivers. What brands have the worst drivers named and ranked? So here we go. It's going to be tattling on some people here, I guess. So let me know what you think. Who are the worst? What brands have the worst drivers on the market, folks? Let's start at the bottom and comment as we go along from your experience. What would, even if you got a little sneak peek at the chart coming up, from your experience, what are the worst brands? You know, I always joke around, BMW drivers don't have any blinker fluid left in their vehicles. Of course, there's no such thing as blinker fluid, but BMW owners seem to drive without blinkers, cutting in and out of traffic. Just last week, I actually started laughing because a guy was trading in his BMW for an electric Ford. And I was talking about the adaptive cruise control, meaning you follow the traffic and you choose how many car lengths you want to follow the traffic by, and it speeds up and slows down in consideration. And he said, I don't like that technology at all. I never use that technology at all because it doesn't let me follow vehicles properly. And I said, expand. What do you mean? He said, well, I can't. There's never an option to follow the vehicle close enough so that you know they need to get out of the way. And I was like, oh, wow, typical BMW mindset, what I've noticed over the years. So, of course, this chart will have older vehicles that you can't buy new anymore, but both Mercury, Pontiac, Saturn, you've got the least number of accidents, DUIs, speeding, and citations. So this is, information obviously gathered from insurance companies. Cadillac, not a whole lot of issues with the Cadillac drivers. Buick, Lincoln, Chrysler, all pretty nice drivers from what we can see. You've got, 19 incidents per 1,000 drivers is what we're calculating this out of. Acura and Dodge. Acura, polite drivers as well, 20 incidents per 1,000 drivers. Dodge, overall Dodge, so excluding Ram, now 21 incidences per 1,000 drivers. GMC, Volvo, Mitsubishi, and Ford all in the same boat at 22. Chevrolet at 23. So Chevrolet drivers just a little bit more dangerous, a little more of those DUIs and accidents, a little more speeding, and a little more citations. Now you've got Mercedes, Nissan, and Audi, more than Chev, more than Ford, at 25 incidences. Honda, Kia, Jeep, Toyota, Hyundai, 25 incidences. Infiniti, Lexus, BMW, all together at 27 incidences per 1,000 drivers. So Infiniti, Lexus, BMW, you're starting to be on the naughty list here. Mazda and Volkswagen, 28, getting near the top of the list. Now, who are the worst? The worst drivers. What brands have the worst drivers according to speeding, accidents, and DUIs, as well as citations? We've got Subaru at 30, Tesla at 31. I thought those cars drove themselves. Well, if you pay $12,000, yes, they have full self-driving. And I don't know if it's the full self-driving that's misbehaving or if it's the drivers themselves. Must be the drivers themselves. 31. They're very near the top of the list. But who takes the cake? Who takes the trophy for being the worst drivers? Ridgeview, that's right. It's Ram. Yes, the WB Subaru is on the naughty list because you've got a lot of younger people buying up Subarus and racing those 4 cylinders like they have V12s. It's that whole mental issue of having 220 horsepower but carrying yourself like you've got 600 horsepower and just always driving to the limit. Subaru's having a lot of accidents, DUIs, and speeding tickets, but Ram with 33 citation DUIs or speeding tickets are citations or accidents. Ram is the biggest loser, I guess we could say. excuse me, I thought I had gotten rid of the flu. A little bit better than I actually had. I don't have a fever today. I'm still a little bit foggy brained, but I'm sorry for the coughing, folks. I know that doesn't make for a great sounding show. But I just had to share some of this entertaining information with you all. And it had been too long since we had a live together. Last Sunday I had a fever and just could not put a sentence together. But I figured this week, I'm still a little foggy brained, but I can actually make sentences and pronounce most words properly. I said, let's do a live together. So thank you so much for being here for episode 2, where we discovered who the worst drivers are. Now, I thought Dodge would be higher because it always seems to be Dodge Chargers, Dodge Challengers, and the occasional Audi or BMW blowing by us on the Jersey Turnpike as we drive down to Florida. But here's Ram. So maybe that's because the Rams drive the same speeds as the Dodge Chargers, but then the Ram trucks, maybe they flip over, or maybe their frames just bend from all that high speed. I kid, but I kid based on truth. So those are your worst drivers, folks. Screenshot the list. Beware when you see a Dodge Ram coming down the road. Watch out. And that's maybe a club you want to be part of, and you want to go out and buy a Ram, or maybe you say, you know what, I don't want to be in that club of the worst drivers. Maybe you won't buy a Ram, or maybe this information doesn't affect your purchases whatsoever. But what could affect your purchases is that the used market for vehicles, wholesale prices are going down. Companies are buying, dealers are buying used vehicles at the auction for less. Used prices are down. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. It'll be a quick little episode, so please join us for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, folks. Really appreciate all the assistance here. Like, subscribe, and share this information. Now let's go out and hunt down this extra added used vehicle information here. All right, folks. Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. Jumping into a little chat about used vehicles. What kind of prices should you expect if you're shopping for a used vehicle? Well, you should definitely be seeing rebates if the vehicle was bought months ago, because prices are down. And here's the chart. Here's the data to prove it. Now, before we get too far into this, please like, subscribe, and share this information. Help support this small family business out. Now, here's a chart going all the way back to January 1998 all the way to January 2024, and you can see those used prices in January 2020 started to skyrocket. Let's zoom in here. You've got January 2020 right here. This is from Cox Automotive. Fantastic information. Thank you so much, Cox Automotive, for sharing this with the public. So January 2022, you had prices drop because of fears of dealers being closed for who knows how long. And then once they started rolling again, the end of 2019 wasn't so bad. You've got these prices used prices jumping up. If dealers buy them for more at auction, they should be paying you more. So make sure that you realize that. And then you've got a peak here in 23. So if you're expecting 2022, for example, a real absolute peak in 2022. If you expect to get 2022 trade prices now, your trade-in, they're not going to budge on that. They should have been paying them more. Now they should be paying them less as trade-ins and at wholesale. But if you're a shopper, so first thing to know is if you're a seller, if you're selling to a dealer, you can't walk in expecting the type of price you would have had spring 2023. Prices have significantly dropped. You see a peak here. They've significantly dropped. So don't walk in. You can expect, but they're not going to make a deal with you if you expect to get the price someone offered you on your vehicle a year ago. One, it's depreciated, and two, prices have gone way down. Part of that is you should also expect a deal. So here's an example. Here's a truck right off my website, bought, a few months ago. So the prices dropped by $3,000. And, if we look at other trucks, had almost 30 used F-150s for sale, and the prices on them, the ones bought, 6 months ago, obviously, have dropped considerably. The trucks that were bought recently, well, they're priced accordingly. So you can see right here, an Ford F-150 2021 price was dropped $4,000 on it. And that's because it was bought previously. We don't want this sitting around, and we don't want to be paying interest on it. So we bought it at old, higher prices. Now, even if we're going to be losing money on this, that's not what's important. What's important is that we get it out and we stop losing money on it. That we lose money through interest payments, and that's why we adjusted to the current market and it's lower. However, if you're looking at a vehicle that just showed up in the last few weeks, last few days, last few weeks, or last couple months at a dealer, it was bought at the new updated price. And if the dealers, pricing these according to the actual market prices, and if their price is competitive, you can't expect them to take $3,000-$4,000 off. You can expect them to take $3,000-$5,000 off, though, on a unit that's been sitting around. And of course, $5,000 off a $7,000 vehicle isn't a reasonable ask. If we look at it, these price decreases, we're $45,000 now down to essentially $41,000. That's 10%. So the market's dropped down 10% in the last few months. 10% decrease in pricing. So that's a little shopper's help if you're looking for a used vehicle. You've got a Ford F-150 2022 here, STX 2.7 liter EcoBoost. I love the 2.7 liter engine. And there you've got a $3,000 drop. So almost 10% drop in price. But the vehicles, trucks that just recently came in, that were just purchased at the correct trade-in price or the correct wholesale auction price, well, they get labeled in right away at the right price, and we can't expect to just jump in and get $3,000-$4,000 off. If it's still for sale in 6 months and it's depreciated, well, then if it's been sitting around for 6 months, do expect to get a better deal than the price it was 6 months earlier. So knowing how long a vehicle has been available at a dealer is a fantastic way to know how to get a good deal. That's data, information to use to encourage or to prove to the dealer why they should be giving you a better price. And Peugeot, thank you so much for encouraging people to smash that like button. I just read that second part. Marie would be cramped up if she was reading that right now. She used to always read your comments and then kind of give me feedback at the end of the show. She's taking care of our daughter, and she was actually finishing up supper while I came down for the show. So that is our information here. You could say our little mini episode here that we've covered. Now, time to get on to EPA slacking emissions rules. This is going to be a surprising one. I didn't expect this to happen. So let's just jump right into that here. Excuse me. Now, to just wrap up this whole talk about used vehicles and to wrap up the beginning of the show with new vehicles, a piece of data I'd wanted to share was that spring fever and tax refund season does boost used retail sales and drop the number of days supplies. So this is bringing down the number of days supplies to 44 as of the 15th of March 2024. So used vehicle inventory opened March at the lowest level since October 2023, according to the Cox Automotive Analysts. I do think that we are at risk of prices sort of being the lowest that they're going to be, and that we do risk that, I'd say that right now there's more risk that prices stay the same or go up. But even if prices stay the same, used prices, our trade-ins, are continuing to go down, as we saw from the wholesale used chart right here. They're used prices, trade-ins, what dealers are paying at auction, but what dealers are also paying you for your trade has been going down since 2022. And right now, used sales are actually going very well, despite all the doom and gloom that you'll read about or watch on YouTube. This isn't an auto market collapse. The market is not, neither the new market nor the used market is completely doomed. Sales are actually going quite well because dealers have adjusted. Dealers have lowered prices for used dealers. New manufacturers have lowered prices and given better incentives on interest rates. Not brands like Toyota, though, however, because Toyota has very low inventory, whereas, Stellantis didn't even fit on this chart. That's why they're throwing out $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 rebates. They have to, and they're still stuck with them. That's what's wild. Ford was near the 125 days of inventory a few months ago, and now they're sitting around, let's see right here, Ford, 91 days of inventory. How did Ford do that? They made major cuts in interest rates, saving thousands of dollars, and they offered thousands of dollars in rebates, and it made the metal move. Now, I think for the month of March, we're in a bit of an ideal sweet spot where, yes, trades have gone down a little, but with all these incentives in regards to rebates and interest rates, now's the time to buy, because if inventory gets more towards the 70-day, the 75, 70 days of inventory, well, then manufacturers and dealers are going to be slacking off all those rebates and better interest rates being offered, which saves us thousands and thousands of dollars. They're going to slack off of it. So I'm telling you folks, now is a good time to go shop your vehicle. So let's talk about this next story here. EPA slacking emissions rules. Who would have thought? I'm not going to complain about this one though. All right, let's get this opened up here. So, episode 3, EPA slacks emissions rules. And even so, Ford CEO Farley, Jim Farley, is still saying that the EPA rule is ambitious and challenging. So Ford has long supported stricter emissions and fuel economy legislation in the U.S., as well as other parts of the world. They haven't been, fighting it. But of course, I think like many brands, some brands have actually been fighting it and have been very vocal about how they have issues with this. And, well, the EPA has been mulling over its own proposed emissions rules that, the goal is to cut greenhouse gases over the next coming years and decades. But originally they wanted 67% of all new vehicles sold by 2032 to be fully electric. Now that target has been cut down to 56%, coupled with at least a 13% mix of plug-in hybrids and partially electric vehicles. So I know myself personally, I'm really happy to hear this, because I found right now the market is far, far, far from wanting, 67% of all sold vehicles to be electric. That's absolutely not where the demand is whatsoever. And I think a lot of us, however, though, are willing to have, for example, an ICE, internal combustion engine Ford F-150. So a beautiful, whether it's a 3.5 liter EcoBoost with hybrid engine, or many of us would love. None of us, I think, would complain if we had a 5 liter V8 Bronco, but for that to be possible, to have a plug-in attachment to it, likely we'll see that more with the 2.3 liter. Maybe a miracle happens and we get it with the 2.7 liter, but likely the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder will come in as a plug-in. But at least now the EPA is making room and accepting plug-ins and hybrids as environmentally friendly options, which is great, because we're not going to get into it. I haven't eaten supper yet, and I don't want to get derailed with a rant. But I think a lot of us know some of the downfalls of fully electric vehicles based on today's current battery technology in regards to the pollution and the environmental downfalls, as well as the humanitarian downfalls that have come with battery production. And it makes it too much competition at once. And we saw in the last few years, when there's too much competition for batteries, what happens? Well, the price of lithium can triple, quadruple. It gets out of hand and makes the electric vehicles unaffordable when you force production to be far higher than what the actual whole process can produce. The whole network of, from the beginning, from mining all the way to being produced into a battery, you can't artificially just throw in a demand and say 67% need to be electric by this date, because it makes the competition have the prices explode and makes none of this viable, because people need to be able to afford to buy these vehicles. So Jim Farley acknowledges that meeting these targets is going to be difficult. Now, Ford has supported stricter emissions and fuel economy legislation in the US. It doesn't surprise me. They're actually Ford's very good when it comes to research and development. Marine Vet, thank you very much. So other automotive lobby groups, though, have been really, really upset, you could say, in this regard. Now, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has been mulling all this over. And, well, Ford's going to start ramping up production on hybrids and plug-ins, which is fantastic. I think a lot of us are going to be much happier with that than having more expensive all-electric models coming out. And Ford actually plans on having maybe slow down production on more options, such as a 7-seater Explorer EV. That's taking a bit of a back burner compared to affordable electric vehicles. Ford needs to be able to compete with Chinese automobiles, and Chinese electric vehicles are inexpensive. So Ford's going to be focusing really on getting a $26,000 electric vehicle out to market. So this is going to be to really deal with those electric vehicles coming in from China. Oh boy, so it's going to be a tough one, but I think Ford's going to get through it. Ford's dealing with this in a pretty sensible manner. So what we're going to see is the Ford Escape quite possibly disappearing more towards 2028. One way or another, there's going to be an electric vehicle being produced in the Escape factory, where the Ford Escape in Louisville, Ford Escape, and the Lincoln Corsair are produced. Well, we're going to be likely getting an electric vehicle coming from there. So let's catch this story. Let's catch up on this story. So Ford, $25,000 Ford EV will be built at Louisville Assembly, according to Run Report. One insider who doesn't want to be named, you can read the article here at Ford Authority, but they're talking about how, according to the contracts, you've got the Escape getting made until 2028. Who knows what's going to happen after that? Will an all EV, full EV Escape-like vehicle completely replace it? But the factory should be producing an EV that's like or similar to the Escape, likely, possibly the same platform, at the same factory for 2026, I believe. You can catch that over at Ford Authority, folks. You'll enjoy that read. Now, folks, let's talk about something that I think is pretty important to me here. Just run through my notes here. Had a little printing area here. So we've got that new low price Ford EV that we just talked about. I think 25,000K will be a very happy spot, a happy price point for many people. And this is going to help Ford compete against China. So the unnamed source is talking about this being built at the Louisville assembly plant, and well, the new contracts with the new contracts with the union with the UAW that got inked last year definitely prove that to be true. So we'll see what 2028 has in store with us, but it's going to be unclear what's going to happen to more expensive EV options like the Ford Explorer. So we'll wait to see for that. So now we're going to be talking about the Ford Maverick reliability, Ford Bronco reliability. So I look forward to this here. Let's check this out. So just going to mark. I don't have Marie to help out with this anymore. So like a big boy, doing it all on my own here. Thank you for the support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps this family business out, and share the content. So let's look here. Got some Ford Bronco and Ford Maverick information. So welcome to Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. We're going to be talking about Ford Bronco, Ford F-150, Lightning, and Ford Maverick quality and resale. You're going to love this, folks. These are very popular models, but I don't want anyone getting fooled. There's, two truths and a lie to this title. So we'll call the title Best Resale Value, Ford Maverick, Ford Bronco, Ford F-150 Lightning, also known as Two Truths and a Lie. So I don't want anyone getting fooled. So don't forget to hit the like button, folks. Subscribe so you don't miss out on information that will save you thousands. And this information will absolutely save you thousands. So here we go, folks. No brainer. The Ford Maverick is an excellent vehicle to buy. Of course, in most cases, you're going to have to order it unless you are willing to take an EcoBoost off a lot. And if it's a hybrid, you're definitely going to have to order it. Wait times are way lower. But the Ford Maverick finished 10th overall among all new vehicles with an estimated 5-year resale value of 54%. Now, the Bronco finished first with an estimated resale value of 66.7%. So regardless, the Ford Maverick also topped the relatively small compact pickup segment. So first for the small pickup segment, 10th overall for all vehicles. Ford Bronco, the big SUV, not the Bronco Sport, but the Ford Bronco, the more expensive one, the bigger one, finishing first across all vehicles at 66.7%, holding that value over 5 years. That is incredible. Now, Kelly's Blue Book, best resale value, how they award these it's based on projections from the organization's official residual value guide. Kelly Blue Book residual values are established by automotive analysts that review the output from statistical models built upon millions of transactions. Vehicles that earn the highest 5-year residual values expressed as a percentage of the original manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP, are selected for these awards. However, they also picked out the Ford F-150 Lightning, and that's why it's two truths and a lie. The Ford Maverick is an incredible purchase in regards to resale. The Ford Bronco is the best vehicle you can buy if you're looking to resell it. Now, I guess they didn't consider the Porsche 911 in their analysis because probably not enough gets sold and very few people can afford them. But the Porsche 911 has been depreciating at a better rate, though. But we won't get into that. That's also if you're looking at the very high end of things. A Porsche 911 is fantastic. It doesn't depreciate like crazy like most Jaguars, most Land Rovers, most Mercedes-Benzes, or just really most high-end vehicles altogether. The 911 is a fantastic vehicle to get. The Corvette also has very good resale values. The WB, your Corvette, love it. Your new Corvette that you've been waiting on, fantastic choice. But if you're looking for a great investment, get a Ford Maverick or get a Ford Bronco. Those are great investments. So not the Bronco Sport like in the picture just beneath, Ford Maverick or the big Bronco. And we've absolutely loved our Ford Maverick. We're not seeing a lot of Ford Mavericks come back to the dealership with issues. We've been very pleased with the paint quality. Yes, these are made in Mexico and people will slam it for that. But The Ford Mavericks and the Ford Bronco Sports that I've been getting from being, assembled in Mexico, the paint on them has been fantastic. I've had several Broncos go through that needed paint corrections. My personal Bronco, the hood got repainted, but nonetheless, I love my Bronco. I highly, highly recommend it. I give it a 9.8 out of 10 just because it could be better. I just don't see a better vehicle on the market to buy right now. Now, the Maverick, it's super practical, 1,500 pounds in the box. You've got a vehicle that's fun to drive. It's a unibody, or kind of like what one of the people in the comment, one of our community members called it, they like to say an exoskeleton, which I think is really cool as a term. So I'm going to borrow your term. I really like that exoskeleton term. It's very nimble. It's got very good handling, and you can, pack $1,500 pounds onto this vehicle and have real work done with it. Now, we're going to be talking about, to conclude this though, the Ford F-150 Lightning. Let's get into those details. Two truths and a lie. Kelley Blue Book put the Ford F-150 Lightning as having the best resale value amongst electric trucks. Well, that's because there basically are very few electric trucks available on the market. And it would make you think that a Lightning is going to be great to buy for a year or two and then resell it. And I just want to warn everyone, don't be fooled. F-150 Lightning has had a great deal of depreciation compared to a Maverick or a Bronco. I had two Broncos. I'm on my third. First two Broncos I sold right around MSRP after driving them for over a year, 14 and 15 months of utilization. And one actually sold a little over MSRP, the first one, and the second one I sold just a little under MSRP. It cost me $2,000 to drive that Outer Banks Sasquatch Bronco for 15 months. That's, $150, less than $150 per month. You can't beat that, folks. That's incredible. But the Lightning, well, my Lightning was 112,000 Canadian dollars, 112,000 Canadian dollars. And now I'm trying to sell it for 80,000 Canadian, and it's not sold yet. I'd say its trade-in value is probably around 70,000, so $42,000 less than what I paid a year ago. And I'm hoping to not trade it in for about $70,000. I'm hoping to sell it myself for $80,000 and have only $32,000 loss over 1 year. It's a lot of money, folks. So Kelley Blue Book putting that as, yes, Ridgeview, I'm driving. Thank you. The eruption green is absolutely beautiful, and I appreciate you dropping that. Yes, and not the only one that has eruption. I was the second one to get on YouTube, I think, to get that color, because we got Dwayne from Driven Wild Outdoors, who has a beautiful eruption green as well. So just to mention you a few of the channels I love to follow: Driven Wild Outdoors, Long MacArthur Ford, All Terrain Nation. Some channels that I really like and I think are really worth catching, folks. Now, yeah, so I'm going to lose, it's going to cost me about roughly $32,000 to $42,000 to have used my Lightning for 1 year. So Kelley Blue Book is putting that as, the best depreciation for an electric truck, because there aren't very many electric trucks. And of course, the electric Hummer electric truck depreciates even more. They start off at about $200,000, and then in no time at all you lose $100,000. So, or not quite, that's a slight exaggeration, but just beware. If you do, there's one solution. If you do want to get a Lightning like I did, do what I did: lease it. This way, at the end of the 4 years, I have the option. I could just keep the vehicle, but with the automotive channel, I like to have the latest and greatest. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but I've swallowed it, and I'm willing to sell it. But at least with the lease, I have the option to get to the end of the 4 years and say, Ford, you thought it'd be worth, whatever it may be on my buy it back price, the residual value. I can say, Ford, you thought this would be worth X number of thousands of dollars. Here are the keys. There you go. Now it's your problem. So if it's worth $10,000 or $15,000 less or $20,000 less than what they had anticipated, it'll be their problem. That's money I won't have to lose. So my big advice is if you do get any electric vehicle, lease them because they are depreciating already like crazy. It is so bad how bad they're depreciating. They were some of the vehicles, they were the segment that depreciated the least 2 years ago. Now they're the segment that depreciates the most. And how you can avoid that is by leasing it. And you know what? You can always buy it at the end of the lease if you're completely enamored and in love with your electric vehicle experience. But I think new battery technology will have come out and you won't really want your electric vehicle anymore. If you want to stay with electric vehicles, you want that latest and greatest technology where the new batteries are going to go further and charge so much faster. And guess what? That's going to kill the value of your electric vehicle. So don't buy them cash. Don't buy an electric vehicle cash. Don't finance it, because if you finance it, you're in a purchase and you're responsible for your trade-in value. So you could be stuck with it for a long period of time. Lease it, and that way with my lease I can charge right up to 100% on the battery and not have to worry about, how is this going to affect battery life, which brings us into our next story, F-150 Lightning reliability. So I'm going to enjoy this story because at least there's a happy note to all of this. So let's get talking about this here. Excuse me, folks. All right, sorry for the little break in talking right there. Let's get right into this episode, one of the last ones of the night. A quick, nice, happy story to share with you all. Ford F-150 Lightning reliability. Folks, you're going to be surprised, but Ford F-150 Lightnings, you might think electric vehicles, the batteries, they catch fire. You might think that they'll never make that 8-year warranty. All manufacturers are offering an 8-year, 160,000 kilometers or 100,000 mile warranty. It's one or the other, whether 8 years comes first or the 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers. That's the warranty you get when you jump into the whole world of getting an electric vehicle. Some think the batteries will never last that long. In some cases in the past, they have not. There's the famous Tesla that's made it to 1 million miles or just a little over 1 million miles. And what was it? 12 electric motors and 4 different batteries. Well, here's a happy story for you all, folks. 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning owner drove almost 100,000 miles. And his battery health is at 97%. This is from Inside EVs, if you want to check out Inside EVs and read up on this story. So that's a lot of miles. Yeah, I like the little subtitle they put here. That's a lot of miles for a 21-month-old electric pickup truck. So too bad for this guy, because his depreciation, if he's looking to resell this, his resale value is going to be really, really rough. And he's kind of in like a do or die situation. It's either sell it now or keep it for a very, very long period. Ride it until the wheels come off, put the pedal to the metal until those wheels come off. But here are his tricks. First of all, he didn't put it to the pedal to the metal that often. He mentioned that he drove very reasonably. So thank you, Eric Loveday, for covering this story. He drove reasonably and he charged the battery up. He didn't, do those everyday top-offs, bringing it back up to 100%. He charged between almost never, other than once or twice, he almost never let the battery go beneath 15%. And he rarely ever charged above 90%. Now those settings you can actually pick out with either your smartphone. If you have Ford Pass, you can play around with your charge settings, or right on the touchscreen, whether you have the 12-inch horizontal touchscreen or the vertical 15.5-inch touchscreen found in the Lariat and Platinums. You can adjust that in your settings if you're thinking about long-terming this truck. And it looks like 8 years is going to easily go by because he's at 100,000 miles, meaning his warranty's over, but he's only lost 3% of the battery's capacities. So that's fantastic news. It looks like, on paper at least, it would look like this thing could last for hundreds of thousands of miles. So we'll keep you updated on stories like this, but right now, Ford battery technology, reliability, dependability is not stressing me out that much. Highlander, thank you so much. I am sick, but I'm out of a fever now. I had a fever for 5 or 6 days, and I really appreciate you all sticking through with me, not through me, but with me, as I try to get this important information out. I missed you all. I wanted to catch up with you all, and I wanted to bring you some of this information, especially this article, because I know there's been so much fear about electric vehicles catching fire, batteries not lasting long, and having to destroying people's budget. Because good thing he didn't find out that the battery at just over 100,000 miles only had 50% of life left, because then he could say, wow, I'm gonna have trouble, real trouble making it to 200,000 miles. And that's not the case with this story. So you have to really consider this when you're buying, who you're buying your electric vehicle from, because a manufacturer can push the stats on a vehicle and it'll last less long. And right now, the lithium-ion batteries, a replacement for this truck, for let's say an extended range battery, would be around, the whole job together would be close to $40,000 to change the full battery system on an extended range Lightning. But thankfully, it looks like you'll never have to change the battery. I think it's going to be like TVs. They're either going to break early on while they're under a warranty, or last, a very reasonable amount of time. And only 3% loss for 100,000 miles is absolutely fantastic. But do remember, some of this individual's tricks. He's not beating the snot out of the vehicle. He's not charging up to 100% all the time. And he uses fast chargers. He avoids them as often as possible. So those are your tricks for getting more life out of what is absolutely a beautiful truck, incredibly comfortable, incredible sound system. My F-150 Lightning has been a real luxury truck. It's been a real luxury and a huge comfort to our lives. The only thing that bothers me with it is the payment, and I bought more truck than I can afford, and that's my problem. Had I been wise, I would have gotten an XLT. Ford has dropped to make these move this month. There's 2 promotions going down at different times, different parts of the month. But we've seen now $8,000 off for my region for these trucks. And we've also seen very, very, very low interest, close to 0%. So they've started moving again. And I think that more people should consider them because, hey, it costs Ford more money to produce these than what they're selling the trucks to you for. It's a steal of a deal. It is an excellent vehicle. And if you go out and test drive one, I can basically promise you, you're not going to be disappointed. It's definitely worth test driving. It's an incredible, incredible ride, not just because of the crazy, insane acceleration, but it's so comfortable. Remember, the rear suspension is independent. It's a fantastic truck, and I love my Lightning. I really like my Lightning. I just really don't like my payment on my Lightning. It hurts me to know that I could have had a second Bronco and save $600 per month and have a really high, basically another wild track in the yard, save $600 a month, but of that $600, have to put $300 per month per gas, but still overall save $300 per month and have a wild track Bronco. So my absolute love for Ford Broncos is what's making my Lightning ownership difficult. And do catch, I did a video recently on what some people call the only real Bronco, which is a 2-door manual Bronco. I did a wonderful test, a review on it. Took it through the corners pretty hard, gave it a nice little acceleration, and I am so surprised. The 2.3 liter engine sounds incredible. The manual was a total blast to drive. I love the 2.3 liter, 2 liter Bronco, and it was a Big Ben Sasquatch, so the 2.3 liter was more than enough power to turn those big 35-inch tires. So much fun. So please check out the video that I put out on that. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Mark, thank you so much for being part of the show. Thank you so much for helping us out and providing information and chatting with the group here. So Mark, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. We've gone over an hour for the live. Really appreciate all your time. Now, I want to wish everyone a fantastic Palm Sunday, and my thoughts are with you all, and I wish you the absolute best as we go into Easter. Now let's get to a bit of free information. We've got a nice little episode here, the last one of the night, and it's a nice quick one. It's to help save you hundreds of dollars. So let's just check this out right here. Let's get to my photo. Okay, let's not give away all the information before the show actually starts. Excuse me. So just going to timestamp this all. All right, let's talk about how you can save hundreds of dollars and charge at Tesla chargers with your Ford without having to spend any money. Well, you have to spend, this is partially true, you're going to have to spend money at the machine for the electricity, but you won't have to spend money to get the capability of charging at Teslas. Because yes, that's right, Ford and Tesla adapters are out. And I say out. You can't just go to the parts department and demand one and get it. You can't go to your sales consultant and get that adapter so that you can charge your Ford at a Tesla charger. There's a process here, folks. And Peugeot, thank you so much for the $20. Cough syrup and lightning depreciation. Oh, the lightning depreciation has hurt me so much, but the $20 helps. You guys, all of you have been so generous. Thank you to the members out there. Thank you for the donations this evening. Very, very kind as I try to get through this on the tail end of having the flu. Had the fever for, I believe, 6 days. It was a wild ride, but we're getting out of it. The scary part was Layla going to the hospital Friday night, and then Layla going to the hospital again Saturday because of, well, she's having trouble breathing because of this flu congestion, giving us so much congestion. Thankfully, I've got one of the world's best wives, and she saw that I already had the flu, and she said, stay home, I'll take it out. But the family's gotten through all this, so I want to get you all through getting a free adapter. So let's walk through the process here. So I've got, as M. Peugeot mentioned, an F-150 Lightning that has depreciated a ton. So do catch the episode where we talk about Ford Maverick, Ford Bronco, and Ford Lightning having the best resale value in the industry. But don't be fooled. There's two truths and a lie behind that, or a catch. Lightning has incredible resale value compared to the other electric trucks. But Kelly Blue Book, you're forgetting that there's still tens of thousands of dollars of depreciation on a Lightning. So we flush that out. Catch that episode. If you're in the live, you already heard about it, so we won't repeat everything here. But now, if you do have an electric vehicle, do lease it to avoid all this depreciation. You give the keys back to the manufacturer, whether it's a Ford, a Tesla. Teslas aren't holding value the way they used to. Elon Musk has been dropping those prices. Electric Fords don't hold their value the way they used to. They're now dropping down in value a lot because Ford has also, like everyone, been dropping the price on these electric vehicles. It's great if you don't have one yet. You can go out and buy one for so much less than I did. But I had a feeling this was coming, and I bought it anyways because I thought the Lightning content would be so much more popular. I said, come on, hundreds of thousands of people will watch my Lightning videos the way they did with my Ford Maverick videos, and that didn't pan out. So I have more Lightning than I can afford. Yes, the WB, would say that the Lightning, in regards to depreciation, the Lightning is the worst vehicle I've had ever. And I actually had a Cadillac that I bought used, and it went from $8,000 to zero, well, $500 getting sent to the scrap. I've been in that situation. But if you want an adapter from Ford, this is what you need to do. Don't go to the parts department. Don't go demanding it from your Ford store. It's all comes down to you. So let's pretend there's a cell phone here in this case. You take out your cell phone, you need to have had Ford Pass. So if you don't have Ford Pass yet, download Ford Pass on an application. Hit the button, create an account, create the account. It'll send you an email. Go to your email, open the email, click the link, fill it all out, add your VIN, your vehicle identification number that can be found at the bottom windshield driver side, or when you open your driver door, you've got barcodes, stickers with barcodes on them. You just scan that, or you punch in with your thumbs the VIN number, vehicle identification number. I believe it's 17 digits from memory. And you throw that in. Now you've got your vehicle in Ford Pass, but then you have to activate it. Hit the activate button, go into the touchscreen while the vehicle is in accessory mode or running, and accept Ford Pass into the vehicle. Then the next step here, to get your free adapters you can charge on Tesla chargers, making you have tens of thousands of extra chargers available. You need to go into Ford Pass. Top right of the screen, there's a button called Account. So top right, when you're in the main screen, when you first come into the application, top right, you hit Account. When you hit Account, what do you do next? You look for the button that says, it's going to say Connected Services. Hit the button Connected Services. You're going to go down and pick your vehicle. So here are a few of the vehicles that I've had recently, but you click, and the Lightning was a Mustang, so it's not the correct serial number in the background. I called a Mustang before the Lightning existed. My blue Mustang was called Lightning because it was fast and blue. Now, so let's repeat. Get into Ford Pass. Get into your Ford Pass account. Top button is Account. Top right of the screen, hit that. Then you go down to Connected Services. Click Connected Services. Right here, that's the logo, folks. Then you just say yes. Say you want the adapter. So you're going to pick adapter, say you want it, and that is how you're going to get your adapter so you can charge on a Tesla. Now, if you haven't already linked your credit card to your Ford Pass, it's going to want to do that because Tesla and Ford don't want to be sending out an adapter worth roughly $230 some dollars, and then you actually never use it because you get to the machine and you go, oh, I can't charge on this Tesla charger. So they're going to want you to connect your credit card to Ford Pass if it hasn't already been done, so that you're all ready, set to go charge on a Tesla charger. They want to make sure you actually use this adapter. And it's as simple as that, folks. Basically, 4 steps. Create the Ford account and activate the vehicle to the account. If it's already done, great. One less step. Get into your main page. On the Ford Pass account, hit Account, top right. Then it opens up. You hit the button Connected Services. And then of the options, there's going to be one option as you scroll down. At the top, it's going to be likely the first option at the top that's going to say more chargers accessible. Something adapter. Click on that, say yes to everything, and here you go. Now, don't expect to get it right away. There's going to be a lot of demand on these, and you need to produce them at the factory. So I'll keep you all updated on how long it actually takes to get my adapter. But I applied for it this past Thursday morning with a fever in between sleeping on the kitchen floor and then passing out on the living room floor. Even today, I don't know what happened. I went down to talk to Layla in the kitchen and was playing with her feet, and I fell asleep on the kitchen floor yet again. And this was after having fallen asleep in the living room floor. It's been regular this week that my flu has been bad enough to actually have me fall asleep by accident on the floor. But here I am. I really want to hang out with you all. So I do want to show you some photos of Layla before she got sick and also share a bit of jokes here. So if this is the future, I like this. If this is the future, then I'd rather stay in the past. Yes, those beautiful gasoline muscle cars were absolutely beautiful. And, wow. Let's hope we get back to beautiful vehicles. Let's hope we don't just listen to 16-year-old specialists. So I thought this was quite nice. You can see he was in the background here using their private jet so many times in a year that it's worth what most people will use for carbon in many lifetimes. Also want to mention tonight that Ford reliability should be going way up because management bonuses are going to be directly tied to quality. So that's interesting. You want more bonus at Ford, you're going to have to show that quality has gone up. So more work is going to be done at the factory. So if you're wondering, where's my Ford Ranger? Why is my Ford Ranger taking so long to show up? Why is my 2024 Ford F-150 Lightning taking so long to show up? It's because they want to correct these problems at the factory. They want recalls to come way down because most journalists see many recalls as really bad quality. So more will be done at the factory to, first of all, have the factory build it correctly. If they don't and the problem gets found before the vehicles ship out, they're going to hold on to them. If they're going to fix them there because they want more satisfied customers. And the CEO at Ford is tying boss bonuses to that. So this is really going to help out. Yes, Tacoma payload of 1,200 pounds is a joke. The Maverick, a smaller truck costing thousands and thousands of dollars less, is at 1,500. So when Scotty talks about the Honda Ridgeline killing off the Ford Maverick, I think he's more of a comedian these days. Excellent mechanic, doesn't take away from his mechanic skills, but I think he's such a comedian that his comedic skills have maybe even surpassed his incredible mechanical skills. So Ford tying bonuses to quality is really going to help us all out, folks. We're going to really find it's going quite a bit better. And that is, a little heads up to everyone. Yes, vehicles built during the pandemic years, they're not the best built vehicles across all makes and models. So if you're looking for a used vehicle and you don't like recalls, try looking at ones built before the pandemic. In 2019, Ford for reliability was at the top of the list. They're in the top 5 for reliability. They're doing a very, very good job. They struggled, everyone struggled with reliability because of the pandemic, but Ford definitely struggled. Now, some interesting trades we've been taking in with the higher gas prices. Guess what? We took in this beautiful 6.2 liter supercharged Ram. If it wasn't a Ram, I love the engine. 6.2 liter supercharged. This would be incredible fun. Even though it is a big big purple dinosaur. It's just a wrap. It could be unwrapped. The engine's incredible, but fuel prices are up. This will make the Ford F-150 Raptor with its 3.5 liter EcoBoost more tempting, except some people, I guess, don't care about the price of gas, but even wealthy people don't like wasting money. So we're starting to take in some interesting trade-ins like this big purple wrapped Ram TRX 6.2 liter supercharged. Now let me know in the comments section, is this the type of vehicle you'd like to see me review? I can always see if I can get my hands on it. Now Layla, this was before she got sick, so she was a lot happier. But today she really, I prayed a lot. I even asked Ridgeview for some prayers. The parents were praying for us, and she pulled through it. She went from Friday night and Saturday. We were really hurting as parents to see her having trouble breathing and her just screaming and wailing because she was quite upset with having trouble breathing in. But thank God, through wonderful prayer, through some assistance from the immediate assistance when we showed up at the hospital, we were able to get this all taken care of. And today was a good day. We're back to seeing smiles and laughter. So thank you so much to the community for often asking, how's Layla doing? How's the family? We love our baby girl. She's been very good to us, and it's just so good to have her starting to be healthier as well, just like myself, starting to be healthier. So lots of Broncos on certain lots. Now I know some of you are still going to be waiting quite a long period of time for a Bronco. So let's just talk a little bit, one last quick episode to help the Bronco community out here. So we're going to be talking about things to get and things not to get on your Bronco. So Bronco, excuse me, folks. I really appreciate you dealing with that. Marine Vet, have a great night. So last episode of the night, Ford Bronco. Can you find them? Can you not find them? What's going on? Do you need to order one? And if you do order one, what should you avoid? Now, as a dealer, we currently have many Broncos for sale. So before we jump into this interesting and helpful story to help save you thousands of dollars, please do hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you don't miss out on a beat on any of the important information that we cover in the automotive industry. And please do share this content. So beautiful, inexpensive Big Bend. If you really want to have a lot of look off this is 58,000 Canadian, and what's incredible is you just change the tires and the wheels, and you've got a 2-inch leveling kit to fit a bigger kit on, and you've got an incredible vehicle right there with a ton of look. And even without it, you'll get better fuel economy if you leave it the way it is. I recently drove a Ford Bronco manual 2-door. It was a complete blast, but not a huge savings. A Big Bend Sasquatch 2-door manual is 62,000, whereas this 4-door Big Bend non-Sasquatch is 58,000. So interesting. You really need to build and price these Broncos and play around with all the options, because you'd be very surprised how the entry-level Big Bend can become very expensive just by clicking on options that seem really interesting. So a very cool option can be to get a Big Bend, a Black Diamond, or an Outer Banks and just throw bigger tires on and possibly different wheels with a leveling kit. But we've got several of these in stock. We have a hardtop Badlands. And doesn't that, I think that just looks absolutely fantastic. If it wasn't for lightning depreciation, I would love to have either the manual 2-door in the yard, which Marie completely put an X on because I'm going to have the responsibility in the morning of bringing our daughter to daycare, and she knows that there's no way I'm going to be able to, I'm going to have a lot of trouble getting a baby into the back seat of a 2-door Bronco, and we wouldn't be able to travel with it because the trunk is small. But the trunk is actually really big on these 4-doors, the boot as some call it. And I think the Badlands is a beautiful option if you want to have a happy compromise between, fuel economy being less on the Sasquatch, the Big Bend that we just saw having considerable less stance and, big monster truck appeal. Well, the Badlands is your halfway point. The Sasquatch that we see, that kind of looks familiar. That's a wild track Sasquatch, but we had an Outer Banks Sasquatch in that color. But there's your wild track, and you can tell by the all black wheels. Hard top. So yeah, we've got a few hard tops. We have a few soft tops, and there's a little happy face, happy mouse, I guess, which even almost bought a Ford Focus RS this week. But we'll get just a little side note. We'll finish up talking about the Ford Bronco in just a moment. But this is a very nicely tuned Focus RS. And I was very tempted because it has 4 doors, a manual, and a ton of power. Let me know in the comments section, what do you think about a Focus RS? They've depreciated a tiny bit since 2016, 2017, and they're maintaining their value. Is this a future classic, folks? Let us know. I'll probably have a video coming out on that in the future. But these aren't even all our Broncos. We've got 2 others at the lot. We've got a total more, sorry, 3 others. We have a total of, I think, 7 Broncos right now, but you might have to order one. But do know that there are Broncos out there. Make phone calls, check the internet. You can find a Bronco, and you shouldn't be paying over MSRP for a Bronco anymore. We're just not there these days. Now, what can we do to get a Bronco in a reasonable amount of time? Well, let's go check this out here. So right here, first of all, if you're looking to get a Maverick ordered up, a hybrid will take longer. An XL will be difficult to put your hands on because demand has been too high. A black appearance package, which is optional on XLT and Lariat, can be difficult. Tonneau pickup box cover, hard folding or tri-fold, avoid it. Bedliner, modular hard drop-in, avoid it unless it comes, of course it's fine when it comes with the luxury package. And a bedliner spray-in as a standalone option, your spray-in bedliner, avoid those things on your Maverick. So the big ones to avoid, XL, and if you want a quicker order, avoid hybrid. Hybrid is going to be a longer order, and if you're a dealer wanting to get a hybrid in stock, Ford is saying no. This dealer notes, we're being told, do not order for stock units a hybrid. We're just not going to give it to you. Ford is focusing on getting those to retail customers, people who've ordered. Make sure that your order is confirmed. You have a COVP, confirmed order vehicle verification process. So sign your order sheet, sign a purchase or lease offer. Make sure they take your driver's license, because if they don't, they're not confirming your order, and these things still need to be confirmed. Now, back to the Bronco, folks. So this episode obviously about getting your Ford Bronco and Ford Maverick. Now, for getting your 2024 Ford Bronco, hardtop roof. Here are things that are, here are some of the national commodity constraints table. The hardtop roof, molded in color, white painted, or dual. Those can all be problematic for order times. The 2-door is at 15%, so you risk waiting longer if you ask for a 2-door. The Wild Track series is at 20%. You might wait a little longer. Everglades is at 4%. Heritage Edition is at 0%. So if you ask a Heritage Edition, at least as of now, you're just not getting that. Heritage Edition, actually the order bank is closed for 2024, so you're definitely not getting it for 2024. Manual transmission is only 3%, folks. So if you ask and make an order for a manual Bronco, your chances are pretty slim of getting it in a quick amount of time because it's constrained. Only 3% of production can go towards the manual transmission. Now, the 2.7 liter engine is at 45%. It's constrained because demand is above 45%. And the Sasquatch package is at 40%. So also another constraint. Now, we're not talking about crazy wait times like they were in the past of, if you wanted a hard top Sasquatch 2.7 liter Bronco, you're waiting 2 to 3 years. It's not going to be a long, crazy wait like that. At least for my region, even with these constraints, we're getting them pretty quickly. But do keep in mind, talk to your dealer. They should know their constraints for their region. They should also know about what their allocations are. So make sure that they've got an allocation for the Bronco. And they should give you a good idea of how long it's going to take to get a manual Bronco. But we got one within a reasonable amount of time, but we also had a lot of allocations. So with a lot of allocations, our manual passed. And I've got to say, the manual is absolutely worth it, folks. It was an incredible drive. Now, before I completely lose my voice, I want to make sure that I thank you all. Thank you, Ridgeview. Thank you, the WB. Mark, thank you so much. Folks, I really appreciate everyone who made it. Marine Vet, Orlando, OBX. Thank you so much, folks, for making it to the show this evening. Really, truly appreciate it. Thank you for all the generosity this evening. It's funny. The amount that we've had in donations to the channel is exactly what the flu medication that I cost for myself and the family. Not the trips to the hospital, but for the flu medication, that's what you've covered. So thank you so much for covering our flu medication here at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. I hope none of you get this flu. It is a really, really nasty one. 6 days of fever. Thank you so much, folks, for watching. I hope you all get to put the pedal to the metal and, get to enjoy your vehicles. We will get well. Thank you so much. Randy, thank you so much, folks. Really appreciate you all. Have a great week. Wish you all more cars and more power, and hope you get to put the pedal to the metal if that's your thing. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. Take care. And I wish you fantastic times with family and friends going into Easter. God bless everybody.